down every night, and now my eyes are open wide, and the sky has never looked so bright. And I don't need to see the road to believe, yeah. 'Cause this is where I'm meant to be, I believe. And I feel the magic everywhere. It's all around us, it's in the air. And I see the magic we can share. So much wonder everywhere. And I feel the magic, can you imagine? And I feel the magic, can you imagine? And I feel the magic, it's all around us. And I feel the magic, it's all around us. There's wonder on this winding road in front of me, yeah. 'Cause I'm right where I'm supposed to be. And I feel the magic everywhere. It's all around us, it's in the air. And I see the magic we can share. So much wonder everywhere. And I feel the magic, can you imagine? And I feel the magic, can you imagine? And I feel the magic, it's all around us. And I feel.
Well, it just cuts off like that, doesn't it? I hope you were singing along. Hello, welcome to Soul and Beyond, wherever you may be in the beyond of the world, whatever part of the day it is for you, welcome along. On Soul and Beyond this evening, we're going to look at life purpose, purpose of life, and maybe you will take away some new insights as to what your purpose in life is, or what is life purpose. There's so many different ways to look at it, but it becomes a real nightmare for a lot of people, and they just figure, what's this all about? Why am I even here? What am I supposed to be doing with my life? And then there's the big question, what's it really mean? That one's a tough one, isn't it? What does it really mean? Welcome to Soul and Beyond. I'm Gwenda, your host. And to every one of these, the beautiful people, Mandy Young, Tanya Atkins, Kat Gray, Lisa Murray, and Michelle Foster, who join me every week. Hello, beautiful souls. How are you? I hope you're all doing really well. And to everyone who is watching, you're most welcome to join us and leave comments. When you register to join, you actually get to interact with me live. And you also get to watch the recording afterwards. So you might find that you need to come back, or another day suits you better. So it's worth registering for the session. So for those who are watching on other platforms, you can still leave your comments, and I'll come back to you. So let's have a look at life purpose. Have you found yours? And what really is the meaning of life? So when we always get one of these, don't we? We just have to have these people that have got nothing better to do than to be extremely rude. And fortunately, there's a lovely little button that helps sort them out. Now, life purpose and purpose of life really is a very important part of everything. How often have you gone to, a farewell? Some people will call it a funeral, but a farewell, and heard the person did nothing with their life? Have you been to any like that, where they say, well, they really didn't do anything with their life, but it was great to have a coffee with them. You don't, do you? You just don't hear that sort of thing when you go to a farewell. I prefer the word farewell than funeral. You always hear how good a person was, and quite often what they love to do in their life and why people like to spend time with them. So what you're actually hearing about is their life purpose. Because a big part of your life purpose is you doing the things that you love to do. Now, if you step into I love my job, then I'm going to ask you to think a little more about what it is that you really love about your job. Because sometimes we can use that as a means of pardoning ourselves away from our life purpose. But if you can seriously say that you absolutely love your job because you get to meet and help a whole range of people, and when you're asked, how do you help them, and you light up, you become very bright, your energy expands because you can say, I help them to be more well. I help them to find, who's doing that? I help them to find their way in their life, or I help them find an ideal something or other. It's your response to what it is you love about your work. So when your energy really expands, now I know that Mandy has been working with children and it really lights her up. She's also going to be a most amazing author of children's books. She's found that she can draw in a way that she never knew she could draw. So there's lots of ways that you can determine your life purpose. One way for sure that will take you away from your life purpose is when you cannot say no when you want to say no. One way to know that you are definitely a long way from your life purpose is when you are a people pleaser. And you will forego everything that means so much to you to please someone else. And when you are constantly compromising your values, constantly compromising your life, then you know that you are a long way off your life purpose. Now, where in this does the soul come in? Well, your purpose of being here in this world is because the soul, your soul, is seeking opportunities, experiences that are going to bring it new awareness, expansiveness, and to be able to know what it is to have this lived experience. I've got a couple of different models here, but before I go through this, I'd like to ask you, it's probably best to be registered and come in through the link that is sent to you from StreamYard. That is the best way to come in to the session. Yes, Mandy, it is the plan. Mandy's done some amazing drawings, Tanya, and writing up. It's just brilliant. That's reading it from my perspective, and I could feel it. I could feel the energy when I was reading Mandy's work. But who's to say that that's not what she feels when she does it? And this is the thing. When you are working on something and you have great enthusiasm and passion for it, and then that flame goes out, but you keep trying to push it. You keep trying to make it happen, and it won't happen. And that's when you know that you need to be looking at your values, looking at where you're compromising yourself in your life. What is it that you truly want to be doing? But most often what we do is chase what we had. We chase what we thought was the right thing or what we were meant to be doing. But who says what we were meant to be doing? Only you define that, unless, of course, you're trying to live through your parents' shoes. If you're trying to mimic or you're trying to win approval from them because you think they want you to be XYZ. And then you're going to run into lots of difficulty when it comes to feeling at peace, feeling clarity in your life, and feeling like you have harmony in everything that you do. So these are dead giveaways for when things are not what your life purpose is. When you are having a lot of struggle, a lot of difficulty, when you have a lot of pain in your body, when you have repeated challenges, the same challenge that keeps repeating itself, or you find that you're losing jobs, you're losing your job, you can't seem to keep a job, or you find that you lose interest in your job very quickly, then this is an excellent way of knowing that you are not on the path of your life purpose. But how often do we stop and go, maybe I should look at another path? The funny thing about humans is they hang on. They hang on to situations, they hang on to workplaces that are not serving them, that are not bringing them harmony, and are not letting them be able to feel at peace in their life. Have you been in any of those circumstances? Have you found yourself in that place? So without thinking, what at top of your tongue, if I said to you, what are the things that bring you joy or fascination? Could you just go, oh yes, or would you have to stop and think? Go, well, and then you disseminate, you analyze. Now you've lost it. So when you jump in with, oh yes, this teaching, nature, writing, hiking, building things, helping people, oh, that lights me up. It brings me a lot of joy and happiness. Well, then you would have a closer look at those things that have bounced straight out. And you'd find even there, you would go, well, yeah, hiking's good, or I'd love to do it. I've done it twice. So really, hiking is not the thing that brings you amazing joy. So then you'd be going, well, why did it come out? Why did I say that? And that's where you need to look closer. Not analyze, but asking yourself simply by closing your eyes and placing your hand over your heart and saying, what is it about hiking that made it jump out as something that brings me a lot of joy? And you'll find from doing that simple exercise, you will open some new awareness and you'll come closer to your life purpose. Now, I've got a couple of concepts here. I was looking for some interesting things to bring you about this and came across a couple of people that have got some interesting things to say about life purpose. And they are predominantly psychologists. And what they do, Martin Seligman, for example, is in the field of positive psychology. So his idea is that you find purpose through personal strengths. And purpose lies where your natural talents meet your passions. Yeah, that one is a great ideology. That's excellent. And that's simple to see. Because if you're in a job that you're not using natural talents that light you up, then you're not going to be living your life purpose. You're not going to find yourself wanting to go to work. But when the bills arrive, you're like, yeah, I have to go to work. Are you going to be in a good space when you go to work, when you feel like that? No. So therein becomes a problem. Now, Martin Seligman says, strength plus enjoyment plus impact equals purpose. Strength plus enjoyment plus impact equals purpose. That one would take you a little while to work through, but for some, that is the way the mind works, and I prefer not to be in the mind, because if you're working from the mind, you're working from the personality that you have created, and that personality has been created to fit in with family dynamics, with societal expectations. So now you're already off your path of alignment with the soul, therefore off your life purpose. But some people like to go into the mind. So that one's a good one for the mind. Then there's this one, and I just love what this man has to say at the end. Purpose through choice and creation. Now this one really rocks for me. Purpose is not discovered, it's created. Purpose is not discovered, it's created. You think about that for a moment. This is existential philosophy, especially thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre. And his core idea is that life has no built-in meaning. Love it. I love it. Life has no built-in meaning. Humans create meaning through their choices. Whoa, that's a huge statement. Humans create meaning through their choices. Then my question would be, where did those choices come from? How did they arrive at something that made them choose that choice? And from this perspective, purpose comes from deciding what matters and committing to it. Now, that in itself is huge. How many times have you made a New Year's resolution? And how many times have you followed through and committed to it for the entire year? Be honest, I don't want to have to look at you and go, really? So deciding what matters and committing to it. And remembering that this fellow says, your life has no built-in meaning. Humans create meaning through their choice. I love that phrase because our choices make our life. Our choices make our personality. Now, let's not get muddled up between personality, in brackets, spirit, and the soul. Two entirely different parts of you. You confused yet? Two entirely different parts of you and two entirely important parts of you. Yes, Dennis, I like that. My New Year's resolution is to not make New Year's resolutions. That's a very good choice. I'm just going to have a look at your comments before I go much further. Watching the birds visit the garden brings me joy. So if you were to sit with that, Tanya, and find what you feel in your body, what is it exactly about watching the birds visiting your garden that brings you joy? And then you will find a little bit more about yourself, your purpose. Cat Gray loves watching baby goats. Oh my gosh, yes. I saw quite a group of baby goats in a paddock the other day. It was so funny. And a donkey. We don't usually see donkeys, but we did. Hello from Spokane, Washington. Hello, Jamie, and welcome. Welcome. We're talking about life purpose here, and thank you for coming in to say hello. That's awesome. And Jackie's saying, country, ancestors in the country, spiritually makes my heart open and happy. Trees, birds, animals, water, pools, rivers, being in the bush. Change from in the past nursing and caring for people to now caring, protecting country, trees, bush, animals. I welcome the opening to this change of my choice now. Serene, peaceful, fills my heart in love. It's beautiful, Jackie. Now you would want to ask yourself, what is my purpose being out here? Being out here in bush and embracing all of the beauty of nature. Yes, Tanya, choosing. Choosing and our choices. When our choices are aligned with our soul, life flows. When our choices are aligned with our identity, being the personality, the spirit, not necessarily are we aligned with the soul. It is a brilliant part of your life to look into your purpose, to ask yourself. However, the trap is that your mind will step in faster than anything else. So using these simple things, using these very simple things to help you look at your life. That's lovely, Tanya. Michelle, going for a walk in the bush or especially rainforest. Oh, yes, absolutely. And this other way of finding your purpose by Viktor Frankl, founder of logotherapy, he believed meaning comes from three things: creating or doing meaningful work, loving and connecting with others, finding meaning in suffering or challenges. Now that's a really cool one. Finding meaning in suffering or challenges. How often have you heard at a farewell about the person having suffered for much of their life or suffered for a period of time before they actually passed? It's a common thing. But how often do we hear what that person was able to find the meaning of that experience? I don't know about you, but not very often have I heard that spoken about. And even when I've nursed and when I've been into the hospitals when someone's in a coma and talking to them, because I'm able to connect with them while they're in the coma, they are not able to express a meaning that they've found for the state that they are in. People that have cancer and they're on a terminal journey, sometimes if they have done inner work, they will give thanks for the experience, because the experience of the cancer has brought them to realize things that they needed to make a different choice about in their life. And they've come to realize things that they held on to that wasn't really the best thing for them to hold on to. Unfortunately, the word they put on the end is, it's too late now. So as we look here tonight at life purpose, I really encourage you to start looking at your choices now, looking at the choices of how you live, the choices of the people that you spend your most time with. Are they really aligned with you, with your values? Or are you stuck in a Ferris wheel, a rat wheel of same, and it's just because you've been friends with them for a long time, but you're holding on to a past that might not be serving you in the present? And by doing that, you're crippling your own life purpose and smothering your soul. Harsh, I know, but it's true. Yes, there you go. Mandy says, my purpose is to really know thyself through experience. And that in itself is a hard journey. So what I like about Viktor Frankl's belief here is, in his view, purpose appears when we ask, where am I needed? So two things here. Life has no built-in meaning. Humans create meaning through their choices. And then purpose appears when we ask, where am I needed? So if we've made a choice and through that we've created a meaning, can we then apply the question, where am I needed? And you know what? By doing those two separately and then bring them together to have a look at your answers, you're going to find just how much in your mind, meaning your identity, your personality, the spirit, you are living versus living in your soul. Fascinating stuff. Hi, Brian. Welcome. That's beautiful, Mandy. Now, Dennis is saying, if I don't make a choice, isn't that a choice in itself? Yes. Yes, it is. Most definitely. Absolutely. Fantastic. If I don't make a choice, it's a choice in itself. And at the end of the day, what's that going to look like for you? At the end, imagine yourself getting into that final phase of your life and you say, I didn't make a choice, and that was a choice in itself. What was my life like because of that choice? It is really interesting to have a look at our choices and where we make them from. Are we making them from a place of wanting to fit in? Are we making them from a place of someone else's values? Kerry says deep and meaningful conversation to enlighten. That's what we're working on here, Kerry. Go with the glow choice. Nice, Kat. Nice. So I've got here the 4 circles of flow. That's better. But yeah, I'm like, okay, Kat, I'm sure that's a thing, the glow, but it's the flow. I've got here a Japanese model, and the word ikigai roughly means, in translation, a reason to get up in the morning. Have you ever been in a place where you felt like you just don't have a reason to get up in the morning? Or, you're like, I just don't want to do this all over again today. Groundhog Day, alarm goes off at the same time, and your immediate thought is same, different day. Or here we go again, same. I want to say to you here that is the greatest fallacy we can ever speak to ourselves, and it is one way of trapping ourselves in a very low vibration, a low frequency. It is also an absolute 100% surety of keeping ourselves very distanced from our soul, because there is nothing and no thing about a new day that is the same as yesterday. Even if your job was to stamp envelopes as they came through, stamp a price onto a product, same packet of Smarties, and you got to stamp a price on it. You do not stamp in the same way that you did. You are not sitting in the same way that you did. Your body is not feeling the same as it did the day before. Your body has got new cells that it didn't have the day before. Your hair is probably sticking up in a way that it didn't the day before. You're not wearing the same clothes. So there is nothing and no thing that is ever the same on you, in you, and around you. Even the air is different from one day to the next. So why is it that we go into that phase of, I don't want to get up, or here we go again, same day, same thing, same different day? Where does that come from? It comes from a place of not being in alignment. That's where. It comes from a place of living a life that's a lie. Living a life that has been created through making choices that are not aligned with your true life purpose. And that your true life purpose is really to discover who you really are, to discover what your soul feels like and what it's like to have your soul expansive in your life. That's really your purpose. Getting there is the fun thing. And as Dennis says, the only constant in life is change. And that's absolutely right. It is the only constant, and yet we resist it. So often resist the change. Resistance to change opens us up to, or actually, it's the reverse. It closes us down. It opens us up to nightmares. Opens us up to challenges and difficulties, obstacles, arguments, not being understood, not being heard. So it creates constriction in our life. We put ourselves in a great big container that is nothing short of painful. So these beautiful full circles of Ikigai, what you love, things that bring joy and or fascination to you, what you're good at, your natural strengths or skills, natural, not something you've had to fight to achieve, but something that comes naturally. What the world needs, problems or needs that matter to you. And that could be better education, healthier lifestyles, emotional support, environmental care, innovation. Some of those things or all of those things might mean nothing to you, might not be an interest. Or that wonderful part of you, the spirit, the created part of you, will say, well, I can't really do anything to make any difference to better education, healthier lifestyles, emotional support, not really. That's not my thing. Environmental care, there's plenty of other people doing that. Now you are really in the mind space, and it's not a helpful mind space. And the fourth one is what you can be paid for. Ways your contribution could support your livelihood. Now, I mentioned before that when you're in a job that you really, really are not enjoying and you just go because you have to, because you've got to pay the bills, you're a long way from your purpose of life and a long way from finding passion in every day when you work like that. So when you look at things that you are good at, things that bring you a lot of joy and light you up, things that you are enthusiastic to go to attend to, and look at ways that you could be working, that you can get paid for those things. Because after all, money is a necessity in this world. We no longer work in a barter system, not to live fully. Can't really barter with the electricity company, the gas company, the landlord, can we? So money is a necessity. But why work in a position that, or a place that makes you physically sick, mentally sick, emotionally sick? Why hang on? So my question to you tonight is, have a look at where you are hanging on in your life. Are you hanging on to friends from long ago who are not aligned with you, or do you even know what it's like to be aligned with yourself? There's two sides to that question. And why? Why are you doing that? So looking at your life and your choices, and then seeing where they are taking you, you will be able to see whether or not you are living your life purpose. Your soul's purpose is to embrace this physical experience, to bring expansion and embrace its pure love. That's it. Your identity, aka personality, is something you create. And with that creation, you then create choices that take you down a merry pathway, like following a yellow brick road or the crazy rabbit. Do you see? Now, with that 4 circles of Ikigai, how the model works is you will have 2 circles that overlap and you get partial meaning. So love plus good at is passion. Good at plus paid for is your profession. Paid for plus needed, vocation. And love plus needed, mission. But it's where all 4 of those meet. There's your life purpose. I really encourage you to have a look at your choices, your place of work, what you love to do, like the girls that like to be in nature, that like to be around the animals, and find out where these things intersect. And what is the feeling? What is it that you get in there that you can say, this is my sweet spot of life. This is where I really feel radiant, bold, and I can feel a harmony that flows through every part of me. And that's where you really find your purpose, your soul purpose. Now, I'm going to say here, if you choose to live your identity, so if you choose to live your personality, leaving your soul out there, that's your choice. And because you have free will, wonderful gift, because you have free will, that's how you can choose to live your life. If you choose to find out more about what it's like to live your life through soul purpose, you will have an extremely different life. One that is rich in purpose. One that is rich in peace, in harmony, in joy, and where things open up and flow for you. There you go, Kat. Open up and flow and glow for you. The thing is, which of these 2 do you sit in the most? The personality, the soul? That's for you to ponder on throughout the evening, throughout the day. Let me have a look. Yeah, Dennis says, in the words of Dire Straits, I want my money for nothing and chicks for free. Tanya enjoyed that. This is good. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Tanya. And Lisa, the last few days I've been thinking about hanging on to old friendships, and now I'm much better than I used, and how I'm much better than I used to be. Still have a way to go, but definitely made progress. Well, progress is better than nothing, Lisa. Well done. And Tanya's saying, I will be looking at my choices now and how my choices make me feel. Fantastic. Fantastic, Tanya. Yes, absolutely. And that's all it takes, is really looking into how you feel. Now, as you know, next week I will not be here for Soul and Beyond, because I will still be over on the East Coast and closing off at this hour of the day, closing off the last day of the Sacred Healers Retreat. And we're going to be working through some amazing energy, that of Saint Germain, that of Archangel Raphael, Lord Jesus Christ, and the goddess Isis. And the changes and the transformations, the awareness, the new aha insights that are going to bloom from those 2 days are going to be impactful, lasting transformation for each of the beautiful souls coming to that retreat. And of course, 2 days before that, I will be at the Conscious Life Festival in the Sunshine Coast. Now, who's going to be there to join me at the Conscious Life Festival? I can't wait for that. I'm running a circle on one day and speaking about what happens when you die on the next day. Oh, that is unfortunate, Kat. I'm sorry that you can't be there. I would have loved you to be. Bloom where you are planted. Yes, Kerry, we can do that. Jackie will be with me, as will Michelle. So excited about it all. Yes, Michelle, me. So it's going to be an awesome 4 days. And when we go through some of the practice, some of the energy, because the days of the retreat, and I'm not going to give too much away, but the days of the retreat are very much about the energy and what comes through for each person from each one of the 4 sacred healers is going to be an incredibly magical time. Jackie's reading a book, Life After Death. Well, let's see how that goes when you hear what I have to say about what happens when you die. So that brings us to the end of this week. And as I say, I will not be here next week. I will be on the East Coast. So in the meantime, having a look at your choices, checking out whether you are living more from the created version of yourself, the personality, holding on to old things, holding on to people who no longer align with you, habits that really you'd like to toss to the curb, but you haven't. Question is, how are they serving you? Or whether you're living more in the joyful spot of what your soul is looking for. Can we make it that we have a beautiful embodiment of the two? I believe so. I believe that we can. But which one would be the stronger? Can we blend them? I believe we can. The trick is to know, are you blending or are you separating? In Kerry's words, are you blooming? If you're blooming, you're constantly, like Dennis said, you're constantly going through change, not being resistant to change. So are you blooming or are you stagnant? These are the things to just start observing in your everyday, even with when you first wake up. What's your attitude when you first wake up? I hope after tonight's session, your attitude when you wake up is going to be one of enjoyment, ready to embrace what the day holds and ready to create what you would like it to hold. Thank you for being here tonight with me again. Those of you that I will see on the weekend and at the retreat, can't wait And everyone else, I look forward to seeing you the following week. God bless everyone.